and this is also the figures or the picture contents for the SQL injection lab, and this is for the privilege escalation lab. Anyhow, it was the first thing starting about the lab 2, or that's the lab setup. I did configuration for the lab, and I run the machine in my virtual machine, which is this is actually I run the that's the MySQL, and for example here I wrote this code, but I did it here in the event about my answer. So there are several questions I answer. For example, the question number 1, interface, which entered to user interface. Actually, this is the interface. Even we can see it in my VMware. This is the interface. What I have it. Actually, I can add here some work inside this environment. Anyhow, I will present all what I did in the VMware in my report. Actually, I use the user name, for example, Ian, and I try to use another information to find the user name and password. Actually, I saw the details for Ian's. After that, the question 2, they want me to see, or they want to see the rules for each privilege. And also, I use the commands here to see the rules. For instance, I show the database. First of all, I saw the database inside my SQL. And after that, I saw I present or I used another code. We call it show tables, and I saw the table there. And here also inside that table, I see the commands users or information users. For example, I use that database users, and after that I shift or I show the tables inside this, and in this table I see the table or describe credentials table. I saw that table, and here in the credentials table I found the details, and when I use the select command from credential, where is the name of the user, John, and actually I saw them, and also there is an about thumbs. I used to select statements here, and I saw the details there. And in feature number 9, also I use select statement for user to create username. Ishaq. I created new usernames, Ishaq usernames, and I give that for Ishaq as username. I create that in local, and I give them the privilege for as local host. And also in feature 10, I give the Ishaq users privilege for as administrator. And after that, also I use another select statement to see the details about how to create the database. Also, I create another database or new database, Ishaq Home. I created that with, and I add one user Maher with the password. So this is in general about this question. And here also I see the user, for example, the user or the rule privilege or grants. So I use the commands here in this. For instance, show me the grant for roots. Actually, I saw the roots grants, and also I created another 2 rules. We call it manager and developers, and I create these two rules. I created, and I use and I create this. For I give the commands here, create manager rule, and I created the developer rules. And also even I give them the privilege or grants for this manager and developers. And here this is the command to see to present for me the manager and developer rules. And I can see, for example, in grant of the manager, it has all the privilege in my systems or in my database, but the developer it have a few privilege, like the update and select. In question number 3, they want the evidence SQL commands to use access rule and the permission. Also, I use that select statements to see the rules, privilege, and I use that what is for the manager and for the developers. I got the below result. You can see, for example, the user and what is that, what is the percent for them. And to check the permission, actually, for each rule, I use this command, show the grant for manager, and I saw, for example, the grant using that the manager has all privilege, and developers has specific privilege. And in lab 3, question 3 and the question number 4, complete the task to utilize how you show the database MySQL present. I see the database here. To see the database commands, for example, show database, I can see the database available in my system, and there are several kinds. For example, system database, I have 4 types: information sigma, MySQL, performance sigma, and sys. And the user database actually is Ishaq home and users database. So that's the first database. It has Ishaq home. There are tables actually, and also other database there are tables. In the below image, we can see in the question number 5 which user, and there it can find the table name. For example, when I use the present or the command show database, I saw the database which is available, and when I use the user database, and I saw the tables like this. Here, actually, I use command select statement to credential where the username John. So that's when I check the details for the John. I can find his ID number, his name, his salary, his national insurance, and his birth date, and so on, even the password, the hashing password. In question number 6, they want me to do update for the salary. For instance, where is that statements I did here? For example, show the contents for the database. I see also the contents. I did update for John, for instance, from to his salary to 50,000, and I did this statement. For example, here, select statement from credential, I can see the John salary, it was 40,000. But when I used the update statements for John, and I did it, and it was here, John also is 50,000. So that's, I did the update for the John salary. In question number 7, retrieve the user's credential, for example, for the salary, which is more than 6,000. That's, I use the select statements to see the users who has their salary is more than 60,000. And 60,000, that's, I use this select statements. For example, select statements, it was greater than 6,000, and I found, for example, Ian, Phil, and Elian, their salary is more than 60,000. And in question number 8, they want the total number for the staff in the credential tables. I use the counts, and I use here the select statement, select counts as total staff from the credential, and I found it that it was 7, and this is the result from my system. In question number 9, demonstrate the attack vulnerability website. We will access the login page using the SQL injection to malicious code password page. This will give the access without actual. So that I use here the select statement. Sorry, I use the form, and I try to access I try to log in to the admin, and I try to use the password, which I don't know. For instance, I use 123, and it was failure. But when I use the SQL injection, for example, I use the admin / or 1 = 1, it was running, and I can see the data or for the other employees. So that's when I use the SQL injection here in this form, it was running. In question number or the task 2.2, question number 10, they want me to provide command to see the result output for the proof users. I use this commands, crucial commands. and also I use the ID, for instance, 1, 2, 3, the password. It was running. I can see the crucial here, and it was working. This is the result for the crucial. In task 2.3, question number 11, they want me to reveal PHP manuals. Also, I did it. Even I did update, and I give, this is the salary which I give it for that person. It was the salary 15,000, and now I change the salary for John to this number. It is I write it 99898989980 as random number. But anyhow, I used this command to do update. It was in any form from Adam, and I used the phone number for Adam, and that was updated anyhow. And now I can see the salary for Adam, for example, it was 50,000, and now 150,000 this salary. In question number, this is question number 12 actually, and now question number 13. Also, they ask me to edit the salary. For example, we reduce the salary of Alian from 90,000 to 10,000. So I reduce it. I use that. For example, now when I use select statement, I can see first before the update, it was his salary was 90,000. But after updating, I can see, and I use this command, or this is SQL injection. It was in the form for edit profile. It was in phone number only field, and of course it updated to 10,000. I can see the result. Number 13, they want me to do password modification and using the SQL injection. Actually, also in the, for example, the hashing password, it was here for Ayan, and when I use the SQL injection attack for Ayan, I can see hashing. It was this was hashing with Ayan, and it shifted or changed it. I changed it to 1, 2, 3, and even the hashing, it was changing. Here we can see the difference between this two hashing. In the second part of the assessment, the Linux privilege escalation lab, actually in lab task 1, for example, how to allocate the file accessible the user UWE or UV across Internet system. So first of all, that's the commands with the result percentage 10 lines of the output. So I use this command find type rebel user or dash slash user UV, and here I use it head minus n10. Anyhow, and I see the explanation. For example, find that's the research for direct and so on. This is the explanation for that command. In question number 2, they want me to provide a screenshot to show the against root by exploiting direct by vulnerability for the CV 2022 0847. Using the wedge commands. I use the wedge command, and I try to wedge command. I get this is the result. It was run, and in step 2, I compile execute. I compiled execute to see the commands. Actually, favority to the root axis. I can see the root axis. It was UD root, and the GID is root, and the groups is root. Already, I changed it to the root. Even here, I use another command that's to see the root. And now your name, if you see, your name minus R is 511.027 generic. So in second or the third question, explanation of the screen for 4.5.0 object gen root shall exploiting vulnerable screen versions at 4.05 in my system. I pulling and running vulnerable Docker container. I run the vulnerable or the container here. It was working as container. I on this code, and it run. I can see another code for running the Docker. Actually, the variety of the screen version, if we can see the screen version for my systems. This is which I found it in my screen system. And the step 3, exploiting vulnerability again root. editing. I did editing, sudo again password list root. I created malicious file like this. I convert malicious files, and I did that. It was the configuration for the malicious file, and I run the screen sudo injection or inject cron. I make this sudo id root by this injection. Cron make the root, and waiting for the cron execution maximum here, because I give it 60 seconds. That's mean 1 minute. I was waiting for 1 minute. After that, it was running. After 1 minute, I run the get root to shell the commands. So that's I get the root and I shell commands. And fabrication for the output, of course, this is the output. You see the root, it was UV or UWE, like the root. And also here the UV output root 00, that's mean UID root and GID root, and groups it was root. And the UID here 100 UV and GID 100 UV, 1000 UV, sorry, not 100, 1000, and the group 1000 UV. And in the picture we can see, or in the next picture we can see the details of one image. So that's this is the details for the image. When I use the screens, and I can see that's the UV and the details for this. And that step 4.4 cron abuse for each user, the cron abuse for privilege escalation demonstrate. First of all, I starting the container with the present shell. I run the container, and the below print the screen for the commands. I run this container to explain that's a container which is running here. In the above interactive shall been interested of working cron direct, checking for vulnerable cron function inside the container, check missing container cron. Here there are some jobs. I did it for the container jobs, and we can see the cron. Exploit writable cron script. Here we find the cron for working execute writable commands. Actually the screen showed requirement, and I did it this vulnerability cron entered, and this is the result. It was by the cron. And the second point, exploit modification. Here actually I did some exploit modification, and the root shell fabrication when I use the show root or show root. This is the root what I have it from there. Next step, question number 5, demonstrate my attack. Actually, first of all, I created vulnerable program, and I give the name of this Ishaq vulnerable .c, and I run this code by C language, and it was running. And this is the second compiling setup permission. Actually, this is the vulnerable and I did this code or this commands to run this vulnerability. And now after that program verification C program permission, I use commands which is the below photo. This is the command which I use it to see the permission in that vulnerability. And the second step, compiling the setup permission. We can see the permission for this, and in the other image, I can, because there are two makes with the permissions, what I use it, and I see the result. In conclusion, we can find the result. I used a command which is below. This is the result. When I use ls-l, I see the result for that. And we have the question 4.5. The answer is exploring the administration using VI. I check the permission for sudo. For example, when I use that, I see the root, how it is, and what is the details. Launching, which is the root privilege. Also, there is some launching, some steps I did. The final screenshot, we can see some details and some information about, for example, the root here, and what is the root, what is with the home and the root ID, and